Monday Night Football. The Philadelphia Eagles hosted the Atlanta Falcons at home and lost. Well, the resident Eagle of this pod.
Yep.
Thoughts on this one, because everyone was expecting the Eagles to come out with an easy victory because everyone has been writing off Kirk Cousins. Even some people were saying, Penix? Maybe? Already? No.
Yep.
Put some respect on his name.
Yeah, no, this was like a hard loss because I generally thought, even pre-game and in the pod, the predicting the scores as well, I thought my Eagles, it would be an interesting game, but we would ultimately come out with the win. Shout out to Kirk Cousins. I think this is the reason the Atlanta Falcons brought him in. They figured they had a fairly okay to good roster, and they needed someone that can just direct it. And it just goes to show, like, if you get the right signal caller, things can turn around pretty quickly. But that being said, I think just before we started the recording, I was looking for every excuse to not blame Saquon Barkley. But
for dropping the catch.
Yeah, I mean, you can say a lot of things. If he caught that ball, then yeah, the game would most likely be over. But ultimately, it comes down to they had under, I believe, a minute, and they were still able to move the ball down the field.
So no, they had 1 minute and 39 seconds. They left
1 minute.
Yeah. So 1:46 by the time it was when they Saquon dropped the pass. Then obviously there was the field goal. 1:39 was on the clock when the Falcons took the field, and they went down the field, but they were at the 12-yard line with 48 seconds left on the clock.
Yeah.
They went down the field quick.
In a hurry, yeah. So I think there's a bunch of different things you can lean on, but I think our defense right now, I mean, it is only week 2, but we need to find our feet. I think I was watching some journalists, I think Emmanuel Archer, I believe, and he brought up a really good point in that the Eagles don't have a dedicated pass rusher that can win without assistance. You know, Vic Fangio's defense is built on rushing 4 and everyone else steps back, right? And you can get pressure with the 4, but we don't have that. We've got a lot of guys who performed really good in their contract years, but didn't necessarily dominate across the board, like the Josh Sweats, the Huffs. You know, those guys, they can flash, but we need someone that can consistently win one-on-one so that we can rush 4 base. That way our defense won't suffer. That is what Vic Fangio wants to run, but we don't have that. You know, so that's something we have to clean up. I'm also going to bring up like Hertz's INT right at the end. I know there was only 22 seconds, but if we get a field goal, we might be able to sneak this one. I'm kind of looking at it like if we could get it within 40, we've got a pretty good kicker. You know what I mean?
That field goal wins you the game, really. You didn't need a touchdown.
Yeah, so I'm kind of like, I don't kind of see that. I mean, I would have just had everyone running routes outside, hook and ladder style, and then I would have tried to go for a field goal. I don't know why he was trying to get that ball deep in the middle of the field, because he would have still had
normally a lot of the time is when you don't have timeouts left.
Yeah.
You will try and find so normally the defense will be effectively covering the sidelines, right? Because they want you to pass inside. Sometimes you think, oh, I've got 20-something seconds. I've got enough time to drop back, pass over the middle, and still clock the ball.
Yeah. But if we got into range, we could have got a field goal. I think Parkey has the boot 40 yards out, even 50, 45, 48.
You mean Jake Elliott?
Jake Elliott, yeah. Sorry, not Parkey, Jake Elliott. We would have been able to perhaps sneak this one out, but you know, it was a good game. I'm not completely mad because I still think we put up a fight. But it's just this early in the season.
Watching that game, I know there were multiple people that I was watching it bailed at halftime because that first half, well, particularly the first quarter was completely and utterly dire. Nobody was able to do anything offensively. When they did manage to move the ball, they either turnover on downs, what the Eagles did, or they just punted, right? And it was an awful game to start off with, and then so one of the guys, a friend of the show, literally said, it got interesting in the end. Literally, it was right at the end that it got interesting. The game was dull. And when it comes to the Eagles, I think they played like if you had gone into this game with a stat line of Jalen Hurts getting 85 rushing yards and a touchdown on the ground, getting 183 yards, over 65% completion percentage and a touchdown, would you have been happy with that stat line?
I would think so. Ultimately, the win's more important.
No. If you know, in the sense that you would have thought that stat line would have brought a win, correct?
Yeah.
Because you would have expected there to be some running with Saquon, in the red zone, which they didn't seem to want to do a fair much.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Eagles, they certainly, I think they dropped the ball with this one. They should have won this game.
Yeah.
But I think this is a real jolt in the confidence for the Falcons, because not only were they were good defensively in this game. They were good defensively, and Kirk was able to find the guys. If you look from the stance point of view, Bijan had a good rushing game, 97 yards on the ground. Ray McLeod had a very peculiar moment where he tried to punch someone, kind of like side glance punch, which I don't understand how it didn't manage to get him ejected. Darnell Mooney, he had himself a moment by fleecing CJ Gardner-Johnson for that touchdown, because I don't know what. He completely obliterated me on that play, and then they managed to get Drake London and Kyle Pitts involved. And the more that they can get Kyle Pitts involved, will kind of, because of the number of pieces they've got, it will spread defenses, because they've got enough pieces on offense to actually to worry people.
Mm-hmm.
So
it gives them a lot of hope. I think the owner Arthur Blank was celebrating like he'd won the divisional championship, but it just goes to show, like, compared to what they had last year with Desmond Ridder, this is a step in the right direction, and I think it's definitely quelled the Michael Penix enthusiasm.
That was week one complete overreactions. That's right. We always have it, and we know that Kirk Cousins. Everyone was saying, "Oh, is he this? Oh, is he that?" You looked in this game. 20 for 29, 241 yards, 2 touchdowns, got sacked only once, no INTs. Like, what else are you going to expect from him?
Yep. They stayed balanced, they were able to run the ball and pass.
150 yards from the 2 running backs.
Yep. 80 plus 54 plus 42 from Ray McLeod. So they were able to pass it as well. So that's the definition of like a balanced offense. And even if you look at my Eagles, we stayed relatively balanced.
No, they were balanced, but it's just when it came to clutch situations, they didn't manage to clutch up.
Yeah.
When it's a 1-point game, that's what's going to happen, right?
Yeah. It's going to be interesting to see how this season unfolds. Like I said, Sirianni is kind of like, he's got no more excuses now. I think, like I said, it's going to fall on Jalen Hurts and
it's not an easy game coming up next week. We're going to preview it against the Saints.
Yeah,
they travel into the Superdome.
Yeah, that one's going to be and the Saints are hot right now, especially when they know that they're doing good. The players are going to play harder. They believe they can win. They know they can win. That's going to be a hard game. And I'd rather my Eagles not start off 1-2. As long as Dallas keep losing, we'll see.
Well, Dallas do have a tough matchup as well this weekend. So this weekend coming up in week 3. So We'll preview those games later on in the week, but yeah, Eagles probably should have won, but it was a very even matchup because both teams didn't play particularly well until like the final quarter and a half. First half particularly was poor from both sides. Offensively, defensively, it was that was the dominant side of the game. But yeah, Eagles have got to improve definitely.